Hello everyone, my name's Eleanor and I'd like to welcome you to the second class of Basic Meditation and Mindfulness, which is part of the WISE Stay Strong Challenge, which I hope you're enjoying this challenge and just look at it as an opportunity to add bits of health into your life, bits of, happy, healthy attitude towards life during this real challenging time. So if you haven't seen the last week's class that I did, it might be nice for you to go back and look at it. I've got some basic meditation stuff that I went over. But if you don't, no worries. This class can stand alone without having to see that. So either way. I'm going to start today with some basic definitions of the words meditation and mindfulness. They're often used interchangeably, and they're technically two different things. So I just kind of wanted to start off the class with clarifying that. So meditation is a practice that is generally done seated, generally with the eyes closed, hands in the lap, focusing on an anchor, which we were using the breath. But it's generally, there is, I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but maybe you've heard of walking meditation. There's also laughing meditation, which I've done. It is a thing, and it's interesting. So, but generally, it's a seated practice that you do with intention, and it's through this practice that you can develop different qualities, and one of those qualities being mindfulness. Jon Kabat-Zinn, he defines mindfulness as awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose, in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So basically, all of meditation is mindfulness, but not all mindfulness is meditation. So anyways, we're not going to get too crazy about it, but that just helps you a little bit. Jon Kabat-Zinn is an author, and he's also developed this stress clinic back east. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. And he's achieved some amazing results with how mindfulness, meditation can help stress, anxiety, blood pressure, all kinds of things. He's documented these things. It's scientific. He's also an author. He wrote a book. Well, he's written many books, but the book that I have is over 20 years old, and I've had it for over 20 years. It's called Wherever You Go, There You Are. And his name is Jon, Jon, Kabat, Kabat -Zinn, Z-I-N-N. It's the best book ever on mindfulness, I think. It's just a great book. I've read it and reread it many times, and I always get something from it. And it's not, you can even just read parts of it. It's just, I highly recommend it if you'd like to get more information on that. So last week I mentioned that meditation is not a quick fix. I think that's what sometimes people will meditate for a week, and they're like, well, I don't feel any different. Is it really doing anything? And I just want to emphasize that it isn't. It's a slow process, which can be frustrating. But if you know that ahead of time, it's helpful to stick with it. I think either meditation or some sort of mindfulness. I'd like to an example that I think works for me and might for you is. So going to the dentist, I have never been very good at, up until about 10 years ago, I just didn't floss. Flossing, I wasn't brought up flossing. I just thought it was I couldn't get myself to floss. It was crazy. So I'd go to the dentist, they'd scrape my teeth during the cleaning, lots of scraping, the tartar off, and the dentist would say, flossing is very important for health, and da-da-da. And so I just didn't. Well, about 10 years ago, for some reason, I decided I'm going to floss, and somehow it wasn't a big deal, and I started flossing every morning, and that was just part of my life. It was no big deal. I did it. I didn't even make that big a deal of it. I was kind of proud of myself. But so I went back to the dentist 6 months later for my cleaning and checkup, and Still scraping, and the dentist still talking about flossing. But then I went back the next 6 months later, which is a whole year from when I started flossing, and a lot less scraping, I have to say, and also a little, good pep talk from my dentist, and that he was proud of me, and that he saw the results. But and I kind of forgot that I didn't floss before. So my point is, that's just how I want you to kind of think about it. It's just slow, but if you just stick with it, the benefits are great. Another thing I want to mention is sometimes people think that meditating makes their mind busier. This I've read many times, and I've heard people say that. It's like, I get busier, but it's not really busier. It's just that's what their mind is always like, and they've just never noticed that how busy their mind really is. So it's just kind of an aha moment, I think. So last class I explained the cycle of meditation, where you just get comfortable, you gently close your eyes, you rest your arms, or your hands rather, in your lap. You let your breath happen naturally, but you bring awareness to it. You might notice where your inhale and exhale is most prominent in your body, whether it's through your nostrils or in your chest or in your belly. And that's your anchor that you keep going back to. And then what'll happen is you'll have a thought, you'll start thinking, and then eventually, hopefully, you notice that you've had a thought and that you're thinking, and then you let go of that thought as best you can and return to your anchor, and that's your cycle. So it's your anchor, you think, you notice, you let go. And you do that with as much kindness to yourself as you can, and you just keep repeating it. That's what meditation is. That's the goal of meditation. But I want to touch a little bit before we meditate on the letting go instruction. And what I mean by letting go of the thought is you don't follow the thought. You don't add to it, fuel it, spin it, whatever word you want to say that you do. You don't follow it. I think that's another way to say it. But you'll probably experience a wide range or variety of thoughts, obviously, during your meditation, depending on especially how long you meditate. Sometimes when you meditate longer, you can get into more. But you might think of something like, oh, well, what am I going to have for lunch today? And, it might be a sentence or two, and then you'll notice it, and you'll pretty easily usually let it go with it, because it doesn't have too much, it's not too heavy, pretty easy to let go. Then you might have another thought about an errand that you have to run, or something that you have to do that day that maybe you're a little nervous about, or you want to make sure you don't forget. There's a little more urgency, there's a little more stuff with it, and it might be a paragraph long before you notice. So that'll be a little more difficult to let it go, or to not add to it, or to not follow it, or say, yeah, but this is really important, I have to think of this, that kind of thing. And then lastly, there are thoughts that are pages and pages long, maybe a whole book before you notice it. It could be something about maybe a conversation that you've had or that you have to have. What you should have said, I should have said this, or no, how could they have said that to me? Or just a lot more hook to it. You're really hooked to this thought, this feeling. It just takes over your whole body. And that is really hard to let go or not follow or not think about, because you just feel like it's just so important. But you do the best you can with that, and it is what it is. However, whether you let it go or not, but you're noticing it, you're there in it, you're aware of it, which is a lot different than what we normally do. My experience with a situation like that, and I have plenty, when I realized that it's consumed me, I tried taking a deep breath in, and then exhale the thought or the feeling or the whole issue as best as I can. I kind of give it like what I call like a little timeout. It's there, it's not going anywhere. I either have it, sit quietly next to me or in the corner, And this is my little visualization. So it's just something that sometimes will help me. I just try not to add to it. It's there. Maybe I'm not able to let it go, but I'm not gonna keep going over it. Another intense issue sometimes I'll have during meditation that I'm just overwhelmed with lots of really important stuff. It's all important, it's all urgent, and it's a lot. And maybe I have a really busy day or a lot to do. Sometimes I don't even have that. It's just a lot of stuff in my head, and it's just overwhelming. And I notice it. And again, I'll take a deep breath in. I don't say to not control your breath during meditating, but in this case, I'll just take a deep breath in. And then I visualize a very large open space that I'm very familiar with. I have a space that I go to. It's my go-to. It's a big open area that I'm very familiar with. And as I exhale, I exhale all of that whole stuff out into the space. So I'm not necessarily going anywhere with it, but they're out in the space. I spread them out. I spread out the thoughts, and I'm just giving it a lot of room. And I think of that space as my mind, and that I've really got a lot of space in my mind. And it helps me to relax and let go a little bit. It's like it's not all crunched up in my tight little space. I got lots of room. I can just let it all be there. It's stuff I'm gonna have to do or whatever, but it just gives me a feeling. It just helps me relax a little. So that's just a tip I wanted to kind of pass on with you on that. And sometimes I'll do that when I'm up at 3 in the morning and those thoughts come attacking. It's kind of a nice way to try to visualize, just letting that urgency go. I think that's what's so hard about it. And lastly, I'm just wanting to mention a few little issues that I've had people ask me about, or that have come up, or that will probably come up for you. And it might be like you're meditating and let's say you get like an itch, or you have to cough, or your leg's asleep. And that's really, you treat that as a thought. Sometimes you're already scratching the itch before you notice that you have an itch, and that's fine. But if let's say you have an itch, it's itchy and you want to scratch it. What I'll do sometimes is notice that I have that itch. I try to stay with the sensation, and sometimes it goes away and sometimes it doesn't, and I itch it. So, but I'm noticing it, it's just done with awareness. So just think of it that way. If you have usually a tickly throat's pretty hard to let go, so you can cough. But just bringing awareness to it that it's a thought. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start meditating. We're going to do our 5-minute meditation like we did last time. So I'm going to set my timer. And again, the timer that I used last week and I'm using this week is called Insight Timer, INSIGHT. It's free. It's awesome. I highly recommend it. It's the best way. You've got a timer. You've got all different kinds of things. We're gonna, this time I'm gonna use an ambient sound. We'll see how that works with the recording, but just something a little different. It's just the same kind of a tone. It's almost like white noise or whatever they call it. We'll see if maybe that's just a different experience. So what I'll do is I'll give you some instructions, kind of talk you through to get you ready for the meditation. Once I stop talking, I'll set the timer. It'll signify the start of your meditation with a bell. It'll have that ambient sound. Hopefully it doesn't annoy you, but it might. And if it does, just notice that. What I'll do halfway through, just to give you a midway point, is I'll have the bell ring again, 2.5 minutes. And that just will be to let you know where the 5 minutes is. And then if you're thinking, it'll bring you back. And then at the end of the 5 minutes will be a gong. That'll signify that the meditation's over, and then you can just kind of come out of it. And like I said last week, I hope this is something you try at home, because the more often you can do it, the more it'll help you, notice your thoughts during the day. Maybe you've got something really important you're trying to focus on, and you're just all over the place. So, All right, well, let's meditate. So go ahead and get comfortable, whether that's in your chair, on the floor, just have your feet flat if you can when you're sitting. You can support your back if that feels better. But you want to be alert. So again, the whole laying down thing, I try to discourage, at least for what we're doing here. There's a place for that as well. So, all right, let's get comfortable. Go ahead and gently close your eyes. Unless you choose to keep them open, you can have your gaze forward and down. Let's just do a deep inhale and exhale together. Just one to signify the start. Just inhaling and exhaling. Relax the jaw and the face. Perhaps rest your tongue behind your teeth. Now settle the breath to do what it wants to do. Feel your breath enter and leave your body. And once you notice you are thinking, you will let it go as best you can and return to your anchor. And I want you to remember that this is all done with as much kindness towards yourself as you can. And just experience whatever happens, whatever you're thinking or letting go. It's all good, and it's all part of the meditation. So that was 5 minutes with an ambient sound. So you want to play around with that. You know, this insight timer that I mentioned is awesome because they do have guided meditations. They have, like I said, the timer. You can set the timer. You can have the bell go. It's really wonderful. So I just do highly recommend that. And like I said, over time, this meditation practice is what cultivates perhaps more mindful times in your life, which I think once you start experiencing that, you realize how important it is and how nice it is. So there's something that can help you. So you can do your meditation, but you can also practice mindfulness. Like I said, they're two separate things. This book has a lot of ideas in it, so I, again, recommend that book. But also there's an activity I wanted to kind of share with you that you could put into your daily lives. And so an activity, well, what you would do is choose an activity, specifically maybe washing the dishes, brushing your teeth, ironing. I don't know if people iron still anymore, or cooking, anything like that. Just an activity, or even just set the timer for a set amount of time. But what you'll want to do is you make a conscious effort to pay attention to whatever it is you're doing. Basically, you're just paying attention non-judgmentally to that present moment, just like that definition for it. So you're washing the dishes, you might notice the bubbles or the temperature of the water or the pattern on the plate, anything like that. And then, you know, you'll probably think, and you'll notice you're thinking, just like in meditation, you'll just bring it back to that present moment, whatever happens, maybe someone comes in to the room while you're washing dishes and you have an interaction with them. You're just being as mindful and present and paying attention without 1,000 thoughts, no multitasking. And that's hard. Sometimes when I do my 2-minute toothbrush, I try not to multitask, and it's hard because you want to like do 10 things. So something I've done is that's really been helpful is I walk my dogs every morning. It's something I do. And a lot of times I would, be on the phone, make a phone call, or think about what I need to do, or make my grocery list as I'm walking them, But I've just chosen to, most of the time, say 9 times out of 10, will just be on that walk. Just notice the birds. I've noticed mailboxes being painted by neighbors' houses, how they've arranged the pumpkins and stuff. It's really amazing, all that's out there that I don't notice. Maybe little bunny rabbits and stuff that are out. It's very enjoyable. So I just want to thank you again for spending this time with me. I've really enjoyed it. I enjoy this class, and I'm hoping to do more. We'll see. And I am grateful for this opportunity, but I'm also hoping that you're really enjoying the Wise Stay Strong Challenge. I think it's awesome that they're doing that, and I just think it's a great way to do little things to make a big difference. If you want to contact me, you can email me. My email address is meditatewitheleanor. My name is spelled Eleanor, all lowercase, @gmail.com. So thanks again, and remember, stay strong.